Hello everyone, I'm Carrie Scott here for the New Jersey State Museum. Welcome to Small Explorers. This week our topic is toolmakers. What's a tool? A tool is an object that you use to help you do a specific job. So I have a trowel here. What do we do with a trowel? Or the shovel that I have back here? We use it to dig in the ground. And why might we be digging in the ground? We might be gardening. Or if you are one of the scientists at the museum, you might be looking for something. At the museum, we have two different types of digging scientists. Paleontologists who are looking for fossils like dinosaur bones. And we have archaeologists who are looking for artifacts, things that people who lived a long time ago left behind. Artifacts let us know how people in the past lived. So another tool that we might use at the museum, this one came from Discovery Net. Sometimes we use a magnifying glass or a microscope. This is a tool to help make very small things look much bigger so we can study them. What kind of tools might you have around your house? What might you use to tap nails into place? Or if you have to cut wood? What kind of tools might you find in your toolbox at home? Hey explorers! Welcome to New Jersey's Original People. This is our archaeology collection here in the museum. These are all artifacts that were left behind by people who lived in New Jersey thousands of years ago. These are the ancestors of the Lenape, New Jersey's Native Americans. We use tools to complete daily tasks. People of the past also had chores to finish. Tools used by New Jersey's native peoples look different from ours, but their functions are the same. All right, so let's play a game. We're gonna go through and look at some stone tools that were used by the ancestors of the Lenape, and we're gonna try and figure out what they were used for and what kind of tools we might use today for the same job. So this first one here, oh, it's kind of long. Let's look at the shape. It's kind of long and pointy. It says, I'm used to cut various plant and animal foods. What am I? What might your family use in the kitchen to cut food? What do you think? Did you guess it? Oh, it's a knife. All right, so our next tool, let's take a look at the shape. It's very tiny. It's got a very pointy end. It said this tool was used to make holes in wood, shell, bone, dried clay, or stone. What is it? What do we use today if we want to make a hole in something? A little hole. I think most of the time when we use them today, they run on batteries or electricity. They make a very loud whirring noise. So what am I? A drill. So let's take a look at this next tool. Look at the shape. It's kind of curved and it has a sharp edge. It says this tool is used to clean animal hides. What is it? Now, if you need to clean animal hide to make leather, one of the things you're going to do is start scratching you need to scratch the hair away. You need to scratch some of the inside away. It's kind of motion kind of like this. Now, when we use a tool like this today, we're usually scratching off paint, or dirt. So let's think, what could we use to scratch paint away? Let's take a look. a scraper. So this was used to scrape the inside of animal hides. We use a scraper today to scrape old paint off of a surface that we want to repaint. Now this next tool, it's a lot bigger and heavier than the other ones we've looked at. It says it's used to hit other rocks to make different stone tools. What is it? What tool can you think of that we use to hit or to tap things into place? You ready? A hammer. This stone tool is an early hammer. Now this tool is another bigger one and heavier one. It has an interesting shape. What shapes do you see? It says this tool is used to cut and trim trees. What is it? What tools can you think of that are used to cut or trim trees? I can think of one that you need to pull back and forth. I can think of another one that you need to swing and hit the tree with. Which tool do you think this is? Let's take a look. What am I? An axe. So let's take a closer look at one of our prehistoric axes. Okay, explorers, let's take a closer look at a very old stone axe. Like the axe we just saw while we were playing our game. This is an old stone tool. It's about 6,000 years old. This is from our teaching collection at the museum. This is one of our hands-on artifacts. Now, what's an artifact? An artifact is something that was left behind by people of the past. It can be something that is hundreds or thousands of years old. It gives us evidence of how people of the past lived. So let's see. This side, this would have been the sharp side that you would swing and cut the tree. And the handle would have been attached here where it's a little skinnier and then tied on. So who looks for these artifacts? How do we find these? So let's talk to one of our archaeologists at the museum. An archaeologist is someone who studies the people of the past. Archaeology is what we call a digging science. Archaeologists go out into what they call the field. They go out somewhere where they think they might find artifacts like this, and they dig for them. It's a digging science. So let's talk to Dr. Greg Lattanzi, who is an archaeologist and a curator at the New Jersey State Museum.
Hi, my name is Dr. Greg Lattanzi. I'm the curator of the Bureau of Archaeology and Ethnography at the New Jersey State Museum. Hi. So when we go back to the lab as archaeologists, sometimes some of the tools that we use when we work in the lab have to do with measuring, and we measure a lot of artifacts as well as looking at measurements that we've drawn out in the field. And so two of the types of tools that we use in the lab are a ruler. This one's clear, unfortunately. Hopefully you can see a little bit of it, but ruler, obviously 12 inches on one side, and on the other side it has the metric system. Archaeologists and most scientists in the United States use the metric system when analyzing or measuring artifacts or any type of scientific equipment. We use metric system. So we use this a lot, regular ruler for measuring the length of artifacts. So, our next segment, we're going to talk about some of the tools that are used when we're outside in the field. I'm here outside to show you a couple of the tools that archaeologists use when we excavate. One of the first ones and major tool that we always use is a trowel. So this trowel is like a garden trowel that you may have in your garage at home, or a mason trowel that you use for bricklaying. Basically, this kind of trowel is used for excavating in the soil, making smooth cuts, making lines, and excavating in units, which are large squares that are open for archaeologists to excavate at. One of the other tools that archaeologists have, especially when we excavate large open areas, is a flat shovel. And you can see it's flat edge, and what we use this for is skimming across the top of units, and that way we can get a nice flat, even surface. One of the other tools that we use is another kind of shovel, and this kind of shovel is used specifically for digging what's called shovel test pits. These are small, round pits that we dig in the ground up to about a foot, or depending on where you are in the state, until you hit bedrock, and you can't go anymore. And we usually do shovel test pits at a certain interval along a road or along a pipeline, and sift through that soil. And so this is the shovel that we use for that. This is your typical regular round-headed shovel. All right. Well, thank you very much, and hope to see you at the New Jersey State Museum.
Thank you, Dr. Latanzi. That was very cool to learn about some of the tools that are used in the field and the lab. And I actually found some measuring tools here in my house. I think these might be fun to play with while we are all at home. Right here I have a ruler. Mine's also clear, but it has dinosaurs on it. And I have a yardstick. A yardstick is 3 rulers together on one side. That's the standard system that Dr. Latanzi was talking about. And on the other side, I have centimeters. This is the metric system that Dr. Latanzi introduced us to. And this is the measuring system that scientists use. So it's a little over 91 centimeters is the same as 3 feet, three of these rulers. So I also have a measuring tape, which gets much, much longer. I'm going to hand one end to Mr. Cameraman. Oh, how long does this get? Very, very long. This is something else that could be very fun to play with. So, for my older small explorers, about 3 to 5, if you have a ruler or a yardstick or even a measuring tape somewhere in the house, and we're learning our numbers, let's start measuring how long things are. So here, my measuring tape is only in inches. So I'm going to measure my thumb. So my thumb is about 2 inches long. So let's take our ruler and start measuring our toys. Could our toys be 9 centimeters or 17 centimeters? Let's see, my magnifying glass is about 20 centimeters. That is a good way to start practicing using some tools. Let's see, for parents of our smallest explorers, if you haven't thought about starting a height chart for your children, this might be a good time. If you can put a long piece of paper up along the wall, height-wise, somewhere in your home, and stand everybody up next to it, and put a mark above their head, then use your ruler or your tape measure to write down for it how tall everybody is right now. And keep measuring it every so often, every month or every year. It's up to you. So thank you for joining me this week, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope everybody is doing okay.